Study questions for the explanation. 1. Why does neither religion nor science provide a tenable worldview and life view? Answer: the world picture of religion is based on belief, not facts. Scientific research has refuted that world picture on important points. The scientific worldview is a one-sided materialism and gives no room for a meaning of life. Also, materialism is contradicted by superphysical phenomena. 2. Logically speaking, why is there nothing to contradict the existence of a reality beyond the physical? Answer: because the greater part of reality is still unexplored. 3. What important conclusion can be drawn from the nature of superphysical phenomena? Answer: that consciousness can act with a much higher degree of independence of the physical body than materialism assumes. 4. Why does Hylozoic study superphysical reality and not so much physical reality? Answer: because superphysical reality is the much greater part of reality, and the causes of physical events are to be found in the superphysical. 5. Why does the esoteric knowledge of the universe and of man reach far beyond the possibilities of science? Answer: because the esoteric teachers have systematically developed their consciousness far beyond the limits of normal man, and so have roused to full activity organs of knowledge that still lie dormant within most people. 6. What is the difference between esoterics and hylozoics? Answer: esoterics is the sovereign knowledge of the universe and man, a knowledge common to all the schools of knowledge. Hylozoics is a special formulation of this knowledge, where scientific method and exactitude have been strived for. 7. Although the Hylozoic knowledge has been permitted for publication in our times, there are still reasons for calling it esoteric. Why? Answer: because the greater body of Hylozoics is still reserved for initiates, and Hylozoics belongs and will always belong to the esoteric tradition. 8. What is meant by the statement that Pythagoras abolished the opposition of spirit and matter? Answer: he explained that spirit is the same as the consciousness of matter. Thus, matter and consciousness are two aspects of the same reality. 9. What is meant by the statement that the three aspects are equivalent? Answer: that none of the aspects can be identified with or explained from any of the other two. 10. What is meant by the statement that the three aspects are absolute? 2. Answer: that none of them can be explained from anything else. 11. What are the differences in the degree of consciousness displayed by different life forms due to? Answer: they are due to the fact that consciousness is further developed in some of them than in others. 12. Which natural kingdoms has the monad covered when reaching the human kingdom? Answer: the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms. 13. What is the significance for our present life of the experience we have had in previous lives? Answer: the general experience we have had in previous lives can be remembered anew when we are faced with similar situations in our present life. Then such experience manifests itself as innate understanding. 14. What is the meaning of life? Answer: the evolution of consciousness. 15. What is a monad? Answer: a primordial atom, the material nucleus with which an individual consciousness is bound up. 16. How can the monad be immortal? Answer: death means the dissolution of some composite thing. The monad is a primordial atom, however, uncompounded and therefore immortal. 17. How does the monad become a self? Answer: by entering into life forms and awaken to consciousness in them. 18. How is it that one monad is the inmost nucleus or self of each life form when the life form consists of atoms, which ultimately consist of monads? Answer: only one monad in each life form has such a consciousness that it can function as the self of that life form. All the other monads have a much more primitive consciousness. 19. What is the most important thing to know about the nature of consciousness? Answer: that there is only one consciousness in the entire cosmos, the cosmic total consciousness, in which every monad has an inalienable share. 20. How is it that mere logic tells us that there must exist superhuman beings? Answer: since the self is immortal and develops continually in new forms, many selves must have already reached beyond the human kingdom. 2. 1. What does Hylozoics say about illusionist philosophy? Answer: it rejects it as a vagary and asserts, just like common sense, that reality is objective. 3 exists outside us and is such as it is, irrespective of our views of it. 2. Is reality such as it appears to be? Answer: yes, physical, visible matter. But beside that, reality is something totally different. Consciousness in motion, and immensely more, superphysical, invisible matter having consciousness and being in motion. 3. What is objective and what is subjective? Answer: matter is objective and consciousness is subjective. 4. If consciousness is subjective, can you talk then of objective consciousness? Answer: consciousness is subjective. Consciousness does not apprehend only what is subjective, itself, thoughts, feelings. It apprehends what is objective as well, matter. This faculty of consciousness is called objective consciousness. 5. How can superphysical matter penetrate physical matter? Answer: because there is space for superphysical atoms in the void between physical atoms. 6. What kinds of atoms does superphysical matter consist of? Answer: atoms of finer kinds or smaller in size than physical atoms. 7. What is meant by different worlds in Hylozoics, different planets? Answer: no, different states of matter or dimensions in the same room, in a planet for instance. 8. Which 3 material worlds are mentioned? Answer: the physical world, the emotional world, and the mental world. 9. Which is the lowest material world in the cosmos? Answer: the physical world. 10. What atoms are the finest ones in the cosmos? Answer: the monads. 11. What is clairvoyance? Answer: objective consciousness of emotional and mental matter. 12. Which 3 main kinds of consciousness does man have? And how do they express themselves? Answer: physical, emotional, and mental consciousness. Physical consciousness expresses itself as sense impressions and will impulses to the muscles. Emotional consciousness expresses itself as desires and feelings, and mental consciousness expresses itself as thoughts and ideas. 13. What demonstrates that the self is more than physical, emotional, and mental consciousness? Answer: that the self is able to control threefold consciousness, observe it, renounce identification with it. 14. How many envelopes does man have? And which are they? Answer: 5. They are the organism, the etheric envelope, the emotional envelope, the mental envelope, and the causal envelope. 15. Why must man have envelopes in different worlds, the 2 physical envelopes, for example? Answer: if he did not have them, he would not possess the particular consciousness of the corresponding worlds. If he did not have his 2 physical envelopes, he would lack sense perceptions. 16. Which one of the 2 physical envelopes is the more important one? Why? Answer: the etheric envelope. Without it, the organism could not even be formed. 17. What is implied by the sayings, thoughts are things, and energy follows thought? Answer: that thought also has a matter aspect and an energy aspect, which includes force or motion aspect. 18. How does a lower kind of consciousness apprehend a higher kind? Answer: the higher kind seems non-existent to the lower kind. 19. Give 3 explanations why clairvoyance does not afford a knowledge of existence. Answer: the first one, a lower consciousness cannot apprehend a higher reality. Therefore, Clairvoyance will always be limited to its own world and lower, but cannot perceive the cosmos at large. The second one, the by far most common kind of clairvoyance, perceives only emotional matter, which also contains forms made by the clairvoyant's own desires, forms that he cannot distinguish from permanent reality. The third one, even if the clairvoyant saw correctly, it does not suffice. You must also have some knowledge of what you are seeing, be able to interpret impressions correctly. 20. What is a critical attitude, and why is it necessary? Answer: a striving to have an all-round judgment with a keen eye for merits as well as faults. It is necessary to counteract belief and to promote knowledge. 3. 1. What is physicalism? Answer: the view saying that physical reality is the only reality. 2. Why can there not be any solely spiritual reality? Answer: because all reality has the three aspects, all worlds are material worlds. 3. Indicate 6 qualities of primordial matter. Answer: primordial matter is homogeneous, absolutely dense, absolutely elastic, has no limit, is eternal, and never changes. 4. Indicate 6 qualities of dynamis. Answer: dynamis is the cause of all motion, is eternal, limitless, immutable, omnipotent, and unconscious. 5. In what fact appears the omnipotence of dynamis? Answer: in the fact that it creates the primordial atoms, monads. No other force in the universe can do that. 6. What is the condition of the eternal endurance of the primordial atom? Answer: the constant action of dynamis in the primordial atom. 7. Why is the monad said to be indestructible? Answer: destruction means break up into original constituent parts. Since the monad is uncompounded, it thus cannot break up. 8. What is the hylozoic definition of the monad? Answer: the monad is the least possible part of primordial matter and the least possible firm point for individual consciousness. 9. What does the actualization of consciousness mean? Answer: it is being roused to life. 10. What is chaos? Answer: the free state of the monads in primordial matter. 11. What is the cosmos? What form does it have? Answer: an ordered whole of monads. It has the form of a globe. 12. What is meant by manifestation? Answer: all the processes that make up the life cycle of the cosmos. 13. How many kinds of atoms are there in the cosmos? Answer: 49. 14. In which respects are the 49 atomic worlds different from each other? Answer: in matter, consciousness, motion, dimension, and duration. 15. What does scaling down imply? Answer: that the expressions of consciousness and will are further reduced in each lower atomic world. 16. What is the esoteric definition of atom? Answer: atoms are composed of primordial atoms, monads. The lower the atomic kind, the more monads enter into the atom. 17. What is the esoteric definition of molecule? Answer: molecules are composed of atoms. The lower the molecular kind, the more atoms enter into the molecule. 18. What is the most important fact about motion? Answer: everything is in motion. Nothing in the cosmos stands still. 19. What is energy? Answer: matter in motion. 20. What does causal law mean? Answer: everything that happens is the effect of composite causes. 1. Which different kinds of processes of manifestation are mentioned? Answer: involvation and evolvation, involution, evolution, and expansion. 2. What is the final goal of life? Answer: the cosmic omniscience and omnipotence of all monads. 3. What is involvation and evolvation? Answer: involvation is the composition of primordial atoms to form atoms of the kinds 2 to 49. Evolvation is the corresponding dissolution from atomic kind 49 to atomic kind 1. 4. What does involution mean as viewed from the matter aspect? Answer: that matter acquires the ability to form aggregates. 5 point. What does involution mean as viewed from the consciousness aspect? Answer: that the potential consciousness of the monads is actualized, brought to life. 6 point. What are involutionary beings called? Answer: elementals. 7 point. What does evolution mean as viewed from the consciousness aspect? Answer: that consciousness becomes self-active in worlds 49, 48, and 47. 8 point. What does expansion mean for consciousness? Answer: that consciousness is activated in ever higher worlds from world 46 up simultaneously as the monad gains a common consciousness with increasingly more monads. 9 point. How many natural kingdoms are comprised in evolution and expansion? Answer: 12. 10. How are the 12 natural kingdoms divided? Answer: into 6 kingdoms in the solar system, from 49 to 43, and 6 in the cosmos from 42 to 1, and into 5 natural kingdoms from 49 to 45, and 7 divine kingdoms from 44 to 1. 11. What does common consciousness in world 46, etc. mean? Answer: that the monad, while preserving its self-identity and self-consciousness, apprehends other selves as its own self. 12. How can the monad learn from its experience? Answer: since it has an indestructible memory. 7. 13 point. What is waking consciousness? Answer: the attention of the self in every instant. 14. What is the unconscious? Answer: the subconscious and the superconscious. 15 point. What is the subconscious and the superconscious? Answer: the subconscious is latent memory. The superconscious is all that higher consciousness, which the monad has not yet activated. 16 point. What is the will? Answer: the expression of dynamis through active consciousness. 17 point. Which main kinds of will does man have? Answer: physical locomotion, emotional desire, and mental resolution. 18 point. What does active and passive consciousness mean? Answer: consciousness is active when activated from within by the monad. Consciousness is passive when activated by other monads through telepathy or through robot functions, habits, etc. 19 point. What does the bulk 90% of human suffering depend on? Answer: it depends on the fact that the monad does not want to control its envelopes. 20. How does the monad achieve a higher degree of control of its envelopes? Answer: through attention and self-activation. 5. 1. What is the cosmic total consciousness? Answer: the sum total of the consciousness of all monads in the cosmos. 2 point. Why can also natural kingdoms, worlds, planets, and so on be regarded as envelopes? Answer: because every such form composed of monads is a unitary being in which there is a dominant monad, which in its expansion has a considerable lead over all the other monads, those making up the form. 3 point. What is the planetary hierarchy? Answer: an organization of individuals belonging to the 5th and 6th natural kingdoms on the planet. 4 point. Why must man be a being whose consciousness is isolated from all other life? Answer: because his self-consciousness must be developed and confirmed. 5 point. What does the law of transformation say? Answer: that all forms change and finally dissolve. 6 point. What does the law of form say? 8. Answer: that the monad in the vegetable, animal, and human kingdoms, upon the dissolution of its life form, receives a life form similar to the previous one, and that this process is repeated until the consciousness development of the monad requires a specifically different, higher form, a more purposeful possibility of having increased experience. 7 point. What individual envelopes does the monad have in the lower 4 natural kingdoms? Answer: a physical inorganic envelope in the mineral kingdom. A physical organic and an etheric envelope in the vegetable kingdom, the two physical ones, and also an emotional envelope in the animal kingdom, the physical and emotional ones, and in addition a mental and a causal envelope in the human kingdom. 8. What kinds of consciousness are the most important ones in the lowest three natural kingdoms? Answer: dense physical subjective consciousness in the mineral kingdom, physical etheric in the vegetable kingdom, dense physical objective and emotional subjective in the animal kingdom. 9. What is the term for the monad's transition from a lower to a higher natural kingdom? Answer: transmigration. 10. What is the condition of transmigration? Answer: that the monad has learned to receive and to adapt itself to vibrations from a higher kind of matter than the monad has activated hitherto. 11. What is a group soul? Answer: a common envelope or a set of common envelopes for a group of monads that are on the same level in their kingdom and belong to the same species. 12. What kinds of group souls are there? Answer: mineral, vegetable, and animal group souls. 13. What is causalization? Answer: the monad's transition to the human kingdom, by which process the monad receives a causal envelope, an individual envelope. 14. What determines to which natural kingdom the monad belongs? Answer: the number of the monad's individual envelopes, 1 in the mineral kingdom, 2 in the vegetable kingdom, 3 in the animal kingdom, 5 in the human kingdom. 15. Which animals are able to causalize? Answer: the furthest developed individuals of the highest species, monkeys, elephants, dogs, horses, and cats. 16. How many levels of development will the monad have to pass in the human kingdom? Answer: 777. 17. Which stages of development are to be passed by the human monad, and how many levels do they comprise? 9. Answer: the stage of barbarism, 400 levels, the stage of civilization, 200 levels, the stage of culture, 100 levels, the stage of humanity, 70 levels, the stage of ideality, 7 levels. 18. What two opposite tendencies can be distinguished in the development of human beings? Answer: instinctive adaptation to the laws of life and unity of life, and self-assertion at the cost of other life, respectively. 19. What main kinds of consciousness are the most important at man's 5 stages of development? Answer: lower emotional consciousness at the stage of barbarism, lower emotional mental at the stage of civilization, higher emotional at the stage of culture, higher mental at the stage of humanity, and causal consciousness at the stage of ideality. 20. What is culture in the esoteric sense? Answer: application of the laws of life. 6. 1. In which 2 ways does man activate causal consciousness? Answer: by his higher emotionality 48:2,3 and higher mentality 47:4,5. 2. At which stage of development does man perceive the first causal contact? Answer: at the stage of culture. 3. What kinds of mentalized desire are there? Answer: feeling predominantly emotional and imagination predominantly mental. 4. What does the expression, "everything is hatred that is not love" mean? Answer: all consciousness expressions that contain any emotional element are of either of the 2 tendencies, are either attractive or repulsive. 5. What is illusion? Answer: emotional and wishful thinking, which distorts our view of reality. 6. Which are the 4 kinds of mental consciousness? Answer: inference thinking 47:7, principle thinking 47:6, perspective thinking 47:5, system thinking 47:4. 7. What is fiction? Answer: mental conception without a correspondence in reality. 8. What is the explanation for the fact that men are at different stages of development? Answer: monads are of different ages in the human kingdom. 9. What is typical of the stage of barbarism? Answer: limitation and attachment to physical existence. 10. Why does barbarian man need repulsive emotions? 10. Answer: to be activated at all. 11. What is typical of the stage of civilization? Answer: that man lives in the emotional and identifies himself with his feelings and illusions. 12. Why can it be said that the intellect of the stage of civilization 47:6,7 has been enormously overrated? Answer: it has been important only for the control of the physical world, but has proved worthless in affording man an explanation of the world or even rational norms for human relations. 13. What is typical of the stage of culture? Answer: man's awakening to the necessity of ennobling emotional life. 14. What is the most important feature of consciousness development at the stage of culture? Answer: the activation of causal consciousness through higher emotionality. 48:2,3. 15. What is a saint? Answer: an emotional genius, a human being who is able to keep his self-consciousness in. 48:2. 16. What is typical of the stage of humanity? Answer: it becomes possible for the individual to control all his emotional consciousness. 48:2-7, and so to have mental self-consciousness. 17. What is the most important feature of consciousness development at the stage of humanity? Answer: activation of causal consciousness through higher emotionality. 48:2,3 and higher mentality. 47:4,5. 18. What is typical of the stage of ideality? Answer: causal self-consciousness. 19. Why do we not have memories of previous lives? Answer: since memories in various kinds of consciousness are bound up with the respective envelopes, and since only the causal envelope endures from one incarnation to the next, causal consciousness is required to remember previous lives. 20. What phases does life between incarnations comprise? Answer: life in the emotional and mental worlds during the dissolution of the pertaining envelopes, life in the causal world for the majority and unconscious condition, the awakening and preparation for a new incarnation with the construction of new mental and emotional envelopes. 11. 7. 1. What is knowledge in the deepest sense? Answer: knowledge of laws. 2. What does the principal Hylozoic axiom say? Answer: there are laws in everything, and everything is expressive of law. 3. Which are the most valuable characteristics of a law? Answer: mutability and impersonality. 4. Which is the basic law, the law of nature proper, and how does it express itself? Answer: the law of matter, which expresses itself in the fact that everything strives towards balance, stability, restoration, harmony. 5. What are laws of life? Answer: the expressions of laws of nature through the cosmic total consciousness. 6. Which 7 laws of life are basic? Answer: the laws of freedom, unity, development, self-realization, destiny, reaping, and activation. 7. What does the law of freedom say? Answer: that every being is its own freedom and its own law, and that freedom is gained through law. Freedom is the right to individual character and to activity within the limits set by the equal right of all. 8. What does the law of unity say? Answer: that all beings make up a unity, and that every being must realize its unity with all life in order to be able to expand its consciousness beyond its own self. 9. What does the law of development say? Answer: that all life develops, that forces act in certain ways towards certain goals, which ultimately lead up to the cosmic final goal. 10. What does the law of self-realization say? Answer: that every being must by itself acquire all the qualities and abilities that will ultimately lead up to cosmic omniscience and omnipotence. 11. What does the law of destiny say? Answer: that the self in every new life form is influenced by forces and put into situations that afford the self the experiences necessary on that very level of evolution. 12. What does the law of reaping say? Answer: that everything we have done in deed, word, feeling, and thought, or failed to do, reacts upon with the same effect. 13. What does the law of activation say? 12. Answer: that the individual's consciousness develops through activity and only through his own activity. 14. What is God? Answer: a collective being that understands and applies the law in a sovereign manner within its limited sphere. 15. What is freedom in the most profound sense? Answer: individuality, right to and capacity for individual character and individual activity. 16. How can man work at increasing his freedom? Answer: by obeying the laws of life. 17. In what does the decisive importance of unity appear? Answer: in the fact that all the 7 laws of life aim at unity and concern the collective more than the individual. 18. What is the basis of the cosmic unity? Answer: the potential divinity, inalienable share in the cosmic total consciousness of all the monads entering into the cosmos. 19. What is, in the long run, the only possible way of solving the problems of mankind? Answer: the will to unity. 20. Why can it be said that the law of development is a law concomitant to the law of unity? Answer: because it is a manifestation of universal attraction, which is a force of unity. 8. 1. What is meant by the saying that all life is in essence divine? Answer: that all monads will by their own work get the experiences, knowledge, qualities, and abilities that will finally make them cosmically omniscient and omnipotent. 2. Why must the individual's development be the individual's own business? Answer: because what develops is individual character, what is eternally unique in each individual. 3. Why is it necessary to work up one's experiences to be able to develop through them? Answer: because only by reflecting, by being mentally active, can you perceive the general lesson that lies hidden in each personal experience. 4. What is the difference between comprehension and understanding? Answer: understanding is something definitively conquered, belongs to the abiding self, and you can, as a rule, apply and realize it. Comprehension is temporary, belongs to the envelopes, and is not sufficiently deeply experienced to result in spontaneous application. 5. What is destiny? Answer: the sum of originally given conditions and therefore limitations with regard to the 13 final goal. 6. What are the powers of destiny? Answer: those intelligent forces who, being subordinate to the great purpose of life, affect man and put him into situations where he may have the experiences that are necessary to his further development. 7. Why is it said that man creates his destiny himself? Answer: the powers of destiny just afford the opportunities of development. Man has his free will, his full freedom to receive or reject the offers made to him. 8. Give 3 other names of the law of reaping. Answer: the law of restoration, the law of necessity, the law of responsibility. 9. In which 2 different ways are disturbances redressed according to the law of reaping? Answer: either we are afflicted with the same kind of evil that we have caused, or we work off the debt through voluntary work and service. 10. What is the true evil? Answer: our unwillingness to obey the laws despite our knowledge of them. 11. How can the law of reaping teach us? Answer: by being adapted to and interacting with the other laws of life, with the law of destiny in particular. 12. What is bad sowing? Answer: all mistakes as to the laws of life, particularly expressions of hatred and egoism. Mistakes as to the law of unity. 13. What is bad reaping? Answer: everything that cannot be regarded as happiness, everything that lowers our level of evolution. 14. What is good sowing? Answer: to apply the laws of life without friction. 15. What is good reaping? Answer: everything that life affords us without our efforts, especially opportunities of development. 16. What does collective responsibility mean? Answer: that the common sowing and reaping, as well as the common destiny, are more important than the individual ones. 17. How can laziness be regarded as the root of all evil? Answer: if we were not mentally lazy, then we would have gained some essential knowledge of life, and, applying it, would have avoided sowing much bad sowing. 18. What does the law of repetition or of reinforcement say? Answer: that the content of active consciousness is reinforced by each repetition, is automatized, and finally finds a spontaneous expression in action. 19. Which is the greatest power that determines our destiny? Answer: thought. 20. How can man, by controlling his thought, control his life? Answer: by methodically strengthening his self-chosen motives. 9. 1. What are illusions and what are fictions? Answer: illusions are false emotional valuations that go against the laws of life. Fictions are false intellectual views of reality. 2. What does man's evolution imply in physical, emotional, and mental respect? Answer: increase of his skill to act in the physical world, emotional positivation, mental activation. 3. What is evil in the deepest sense? Answer: the individual's inability to perceive his unity with all the other life, inability of compassion and empathy. 4. Where does suffering exist? Answer: only in the physical and emotional worlds, and in these worlds, just in their lowest 3 molecular kinds, 49:5-7 and 48:5-7. 5. What does it mean that good and evil are both relative and absolute? Answer: they are relative in the fact that what is good and evil on a certain level of development need not be good and evil on another level. They are absolute in the fact that the opposition of good and evil is absolute on each level. 6. Which of the 7 laws of life discussed are the most important laws for man from the evolutionary point of view? Answer: the laws of freedom, unity, self, and activation. 7. What are the attractive and the repulsive basic tendencies? Answer: the attractive basic tendency is the monad's instinctive striving to adapt to the beings around it. The repulsive basic tendency is the monad's instinctive self-assertion at the cost of other beings. 8. What is the most important evolutionary work? Answer: the work at strengthening attraction and lessening repulsion. 9. What is the positive attitude to life? Answer: everything in consciousness that works in harmony with the laws of freedom, unity, development, and self-realization. 15. 10. What is the negative attitude to life? Answer: everything in consciousness that counteracts the laws of freedom, unity, self-realization, and self-activation. 11. What does it mean that certain qualities are essential? Answer: that they must be humanly perfected before the monad is able to pass to the 5th natural kingdom. 12. How are the essential qualities perfected? Answer: through a serving attitude, resulting in a life of service. 13. What is the determining factor in the activation of mentality? Answer: attention. 14. What is concentration? Answer: controlled attention. 15. What is meditation? Answer: that higher quality of controlled attention, where you simultaneously remember yourself. 16. Which 3 kinds of attention are there? Are they of higher and lower kinds? Answer: robot-controlled attention, self-controlled attention without self-consciousness, self-controlled attention with self-consciousness. Robot-controlled attention is of the lowest kind. Self-conscious attention is of the highest kind. 17 point. What 7 practical insights of thought power are used by man for his purposeful evolution? Answer. Energy follows thought. Thought is reinforced by repetition. Do not fight the negative. Thought can never be lost. Thought is inexhaustible. All things are symbols. Thought liberates us by de-identification. 18 point. What is self-observation? Answer. The observation of one's own inner states and outer reactions and actions without reaction, analysis, or criticism. 19 point. What are occultations? Answer. Spontaneous, purposeful actions performed in order to weaken tendencies to negativity and passivity and to strengthen mental will. 20. What does self-remembrance mean? Answer. A purposeful effort at being self-conscious. 10. 1. What is characteristic of the mentality of the mental stage? Answer. The ability to emancipate itself from the dependence on feeling and imagination. 16. 2 point. What is emotionalism? Answer. The tendency of emotionality to perform functions that are better performed by mentality. 3 point. What is the most characteristic trait of emotionalism? Answer. The tendency to make everything a matter of emotional attraction or repulsion. 4 point. What does the emotionalization of a concept mean? Answer. The tendency not to conceive the mental content of concept and to react emotionally on the concept or word instead. 5 point. What is subjectivism? Answer. The tendency to value subjective conception higher than objective reality. 6 point. What does absolutification mean? Answer. The tendency to view values as absolute without intermediate positions between extremes. 7 point. What does identification mean? Answer. A subjective state where we treat real events and things, living people, as if they were identical with our notions of the typical about them. 8 point. Why is it so important to live reflectively, thoughtfully? Answer. Because by reflecting, we work upon the experiences we have had so that we can learn from them, and that is the purpose of our incarnation. 9 point. What is projection? Answer. Overlaying new impressions with old memories and associations so that the individual is unable to receive the new impressions as they are. 10. What is meant by concrete and abstract reality? Answer. Concrete reality is reality outside our skin. Abstract are the objective perceptions of this reality conveyed through the senses, as well as the subjective conceptions of it made by emotional and mental consciousness. 11. What do we do when we associate instead of reflecting? Answer. Then, we do not use the discerning function of mental consciousness, but we see only apparent superficial similarities between things. 12. Which category does perspective thinking use instead of identity and opposite? Answer. Relation. 13 point. Which 4 kinds of relations are mentioned? Answer. Individual equals collective, single event equals whole process, inner reaction equals real person, one aspect equals the whole. 14. What is two-valued thinking? Answer. Thinking that has a tendency to swing between 2 extremes. 17. 15 point. What is multi-valued thinking? Answer. The insight of the fact that there are infinitely many positions between 2 extremes. 16 point. What is a paradox? Answer. An apparent only formal contradiction ascribed by two-valued thinking to sayings in which the same word has been used in a multi-valued sense. 17 point. What is a sensible generalization? Answer. A statement someone makes, intending it for most cases, while being aware that many things are beyond the validity of the generalization. 18 point. What is the insight of relativity? Answer. The insight that in reality, nothing exists in isolation or exists as something in itself, but only in relatedness with other things and in interaction with them. 19 point. What is a hierarchy of values? Answer: a system of values in which some values are subordinate to others. 20. How should we work to make our thinking more relativizing? Answer: we should observe relations, study how things function in their larger contexts. 11. 1. Who are the only ones to have a complete knowledge of all energies in the cosmos? Answer: the individuals of the highest or seventh divine kingdom. 2. What is health from the viewpoint of energy? Answer: the uninhibited work of the causal energies in the organism via the etheric envelope. 3. What is disease from the viewpoint of energy? Answer: blockage in someone of the envelopes intervening between the causal and the organism, the mental, emotional, or etheric envelope. 4. What are the numbers 3 and 7 based on? Answer: both are based on the three aspects of reality. 7 is the maximum number of ways in which 3 can be combined. 5. What does the principle of analogy mean in connection with the 7 series of cosmic worlds? Answer: analogy, or similar repetition, means that a certain word in any one of the lower 6 series agrees or harmonizes best with the corresponding word in the highest series. 6. What does dimensional reduction mean in connection with the 7 series of cosmic worlds? Answer: dimensional reduction means that analogy can never be exact, but that each lower series implies a further deviation from the basic pattern, a further worsening of its quality. 7. Which world marks the limit of man's possibility of perceiving higher reality? 18. Answer: World 46. 8. Mention a law that applies exclusively to the scaled-down systemic energies from 43 to 49, but not to the cosmic energies. Answer: the law of periodicity. 9. Which are the 7 most important centers in man's etheric, emotional, and mental envelopes? Answer: the crown center, the frontal center, the throat center, the heart center, the solar plexus center, the sacral center, the basal center. 10. What are the functions of envelope centers? Answer: they are organs of physical etheric, emotional, and mental consciousness and activity. They are channels or inlets for still higher kinds of consciousness and energy. They are causes of organismal organs. 11. How can man's evolution be described with respect to his envelope centers? Answer: it can be described as the purposive and systematic transference of energies from the centers below the diaphragm to those above. 12. What is a triad? How many triads are there? Answer: a triad is a relatively permanent unit of 3, namely 1 molecule of the 4th kind and 1 atom each of the 2 next lower atomic kinds. There are 3 kinds of triads: 47:4, 48:1, 49:1, a triad of the 1st kind, a first triad; 45:4, 46:1, 47:1, a triad of the 2nd kind, a second triad; 43:4, 44:1, 45:1, a triad of the 3rd kind, a third triad. 13. What are the functions of a triad? Answer: to make it possible for the monad to be conscious in several worlds simultaneously, to convey energy and consciousness between the monad and its envelopes, to form and maintain the envelopes, to make up an indestructible memory, to enable the monad to retain faculties it has acquired, to make it easier for the monad to digest the lessons of experience it has had, to concentrate and integrate the monad's threefold consciousness. 14. In which natural kingdoms does the monad use the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd triad, respectively? Answer: the monad uses the 1st triad in the mineral, vegetable, animal, and human kingdoms, the 2nd triad in the 5th natural kingdom, and the 3rd triad in the 6th natural kingdom. 15. What is meant by initiation? Answer: the monad's self-conscious transition to a higher triad unit, and above all, to a higher triad. 16. In which phase is our solar system? What characterizes this phase? Answer: in the middle phase. This phase is characterized by the fact that life in the solar system is oriented towards the consciousness aspect and the second triad kinds of consciousness. 17 point. What is a dominant? Why must there always be a dominant? Answer: the supreme ruler of each collective, a monad that has, in its expansion, already reached the next higher kingdom, but has chosen to sacrifice itself and remain in order to serve as the necessary connecting link with the higher kingdom. There must always be such a dominant to guarantee that the decisions of the government do not deviate from the plan of the next higher government. 18 point. Which world did Plato mean when speaking about the world of ideas? Why did he use that name? Answer: the causal world. It is the lowest world in which the planetary plan can be read in an unadulterated fashion. 19 point. Are there organisms on other planets in our solar system? Answer: 20. Where in the Diva evolution is the dividing line corresponding to the boundary between man and animal? Answer: it is between the higher and the lower emotional. 1. How many globes go to make a planetary system, or a planetary chain? Of what materiality are they? Answer: 8. Beside our planet, there are 2 globes that have etheric matter as their lowest, 2 have emotional, and 2 have mental matter as their lowest. These 7 globes are encompassed by a larger globe of 46 matter. 2 point. What is the function of the planetary systems? Answer: to make up the living space which the monads need for their manifestation, first involution, then evolution. 3 point. How does the cyclic manifestation in a planetary chain progress? Answer: the mass of monads stays during a definite period on one of the 7 globes, subsequently to continue their manifestation on the next globe, and so on round the 7 globes of the chain. 4 point. What is an eon and how long is it? What is a planetary period and how long is it? Answer: an eon, a cosmic day or night, is the time it takes for the monads to be transported around the 7 globes of the planetary chain, 4,320 million years. A planetary period is the time for the manifestation of the monads on one globe of the planetary chain, a 7th part of an eon or 620 million years. 5 point. In which eon are we now? What is it intended for? Answer: we are in the 4th eon, which is above all intended for the activation of emotional consciousness and for the evolution of the animal kingdom. 6 point. What are the 7 major phases called in which mankind is manifested during a globe period, and how many are they? Answer: they are called root races, and they are 7 in number. 20. 7 point. Which root race was the first one to have a fully developed organism? Answer: the 3rd. 8 point. Which is the greatest and most important event to have happened on our planet? Answer: the arrival of the Lords of the Flame, who formed the first government of our planet. 9 point. Why were the Venusian second selves so important for mankind? Answer: they became our first guides and teachers in everything, and they shaped us such as we are today. 10. Who is Algoides? Answer: man's guardian angel, who has given man his causal envelope, has thereby made the monad a man, and then guides man's consciousness development according to the law of destiny. 11. What is the explanation for the fact that man has 2 causal envelopes during incarnation? Answer: at the beginning of an incarnation, Algoides shapes out of the causal envelope another lesser causal envelope that during incarnation embraces the first triad with the monad. 12. What is the function of the centers of causal envelope? Answer: they make up together the organ of all good human qualities, which together make up man's true being. 13 point. Who constitutes the hierarchy of our planet? Answer: monads, who formerly were human beings, but who are now 2nd and 3rd selves, and who have chosen to remain with us and live in physical incarnation. 14. Why is it important for us to have some knowledge about the planetary hierarchy? Answer: no man can reach beyond the human kingdom without the assistance of and cooperation with the planetary hierarchy, a certain appointed member of it, who has taken upon himself to guide the man on the difficult path between the fourth and the fifth natural kingdom. 15 point. How great is the distance in consciousness between a man and a 45 self? Answer: the consciousness of a 45 self reaches beyond that of man, as much as man's consciousness reaches beyond that of plants. 16 point. What is the most important process now going on in mankind? Answer: the revelation of the esoteric knowledge formerly kept strictly secret. 17 point. What is the purpose of the publication of the esoteric knowledge? Answer: to make it possible for the planetary hierarchy to appear in public, welcomed by the majority of men. 18 point. Which 5 esoteric facts never publicized before does the Philosopher's Stone buy? Lawrence contain? 21. Answer: the solution of the mystery of Trinity, that is, the 3 equivalent aspects of existence, matter, which are atoms, as the carrier of consciousness, and consciousness development as the meaning of life, the self as a monad, a primordial atom, the stages of human and superhuman stages of development, by indicating which atomic and molecular kinds in the envelopes are activated, the formulation of the laws of life, with a particular emphasis on the essential ones for our age. 19 point. What are the practical consequences for human relations of a more widespread study of the esoteric knowledge? Answer: many false views that hamper life and have their root in fear, egoism, and hatred can be made to disappear, such as fear of death, hatred between the sexes, religions, and races, and so on. 20. What is meant by the etherization of mankind? Answer: that the human being no longer incarnates into an organism, but has the etheric envelopes as his lowest one. Lars Adelkogh, June 3, 2008. Last corrections entered March 12, 2018.